Good afternoon, teachers and students. So I don't know, there could be others. I'll say good morning. So welcome again this month for our Shakespeare session. And today we have a special guest from Kenya. She's teacher Jacquelyne Makatia. I'm not sure about the name. So Miss Margot. So can you introduce teacher Jacquelyne for us? Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining today's session. We've been looking forward to this day. And our speaker today is Jacquelyne Anyango. She's from IELTA, Kenya, and she teaches middle and high school students, a teacher of English and global perspectives. She has been teaching for over 15 years, and her passion is to positively impact on learners of all levels through her interactions with them. I'm sure you're going to enjoy the session. Welcome everyone, and thank you, Teacher Brenda, for always planning these sessions. They're really worth. Thank you. Welcome, Teacher Jacquelyne.
Thank you so much, Miss Margot. I'm happy to be here. As you have heard, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, good evening, from wherever you are. As you have heard, my name is Miss Jacquelyne. I teach English. I teach global perspectives, and to students in middle school and high school. To explore Shakespeare's most politically charged and emotionally complex tragedies. This is Anthony and Cleopatra. I really love this story because somehow it resonates to me. This is not simply a love story. It is a play about power, identity, politics, reputation, leadership, gender, and cultural conflict. So it's a very rich text that gives us a lot as literature students. It gives us a lot of themes. It makes us find something to explore because it's not just limited to one theme. It has a number of themes. And so my objective by the end of this session is that students will understand the core themes and characters, which basically we are having two, Anthony and Cleopatra as the main, and then others will come along. Then teachers will gain strategies for teaching and assessing the text effectively, which is what we are supposed to do in a classroom setting. And then everyone will see why this play still matters in the modern society now. And I would like to start this question by this session by asking a question. Can love destroy someone like a political leader? How does love interfere with leadership? Can love destroy a leader? If one of you can give me a response, I would appreciate.
So students, you can do that. You can put in the chat box also, or you can speak.
Huda says, yes, indeed. Yes, love can be destructive. I think with those two responses, we can say that indeed love can destroy a leader. Not necessarily a leader, anyone, because when our mind and our hearts collide, it really becomes difficult to make a decision or to see what is supposed to happen in a particular scenario, because often our feelings are very strong than our thoughts. So a brief synopsis of Anthony and Cleopatra. This play is set after the assassination of Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar was a Rome leader. So Rome is now ruled by three men, Antony, Octavius, and Lepidus. So Mark Antony is a powerful Roman general. He's in Egypt with Cleopatra. Cleopatra is the queen of Egypt. Instead of focusing on Roman politics, he's immersed in passion and luxury. So Rome sees his weakness through this interaction he's having with Cleopatra. As political tension rises, Antony marries Octavia, who is Octavia's sister, that leader, one of the leaders, the sister. So Antony marries Octavia for peace. But this marriage is just what we can call on paper, because emotionally, he remains tied to Cleopatra. Eventually, war breaks out, and at the battle, Cleopatra retreats. Antony follows her, abandoning his fleet. When the war was so heated, Cleopatra decided to withdraw her part of the support because she felt they were going to lose. And at that given point, she did not want Egypt to lose. So this moment marks his tragic downfall, and eventually Antony loses, believes Cleopatra is dead because Cleopatra had left a note, a suicide note, which when Antony read, believed that now Cleopatra was dead. But then towards the end of this play, Cleopatra let her commit suicide rather than be humiliated by Octavius. Because when Antony died and Cleopatra remained, it was a defeat. But one decision Cleopatra made was that she was not going to be killed by Octavius. She decided to commit suicide, and to Rome, that was a political win. But Cleopatra wins symbolically because she controls her narrative. She does not want to be killed by Octavius. And then it is said that Egypt was defeated. She decides to take a snake poison, and then she dies together with the ladies who had accompanied her. So we see Cleopatra as very controlling at this point in time. She wins symbolically by controlling her narrative. Like Cleopatra was so calculative. She didn't want it to end the way everyone thought it would end. She was holding the sword in her hand, and that is what she was going to do. And this part excites me because it means that she was aware of everything that was happening, and she was not going to be used at this point in time to make another narrative win than what she had in her mind. So I want to ask this. If Antony had stayed and fought, will the play still be a tragedy? Like at that point when Antony decided to die, to take poison and die, if she had decided to stay and fight, will the play still be a tragedy? Anyone? All right. I will continue. Then I can collect your insights later. So for me, I think if Antony had stayed and decided to fight, I don't think it will be a tragedy, because maybe he would have won. If he had fought harder, he would have won. And maybe the people who are supporting Antony would have helped him win. And then at the end of the day, Cleopatra would have lived, because Cleopatra had to die because the person who was making or giving her an upper hand in Rome was Antony. And since Antony was not there, then that meant there was no reason for Cleopatra to stay. And if she had stayed, then that meant Octavian would have killed her eventually. So when you're teaching this text, teachers, you need to emphasize that the student should identify the turning point. What was the turning point in this tragedy? Then you need to help students distinguish between summary and analysis. Let them understand what summary is, let them understand what analysis is. Remember, analysis goes deeper than summary. So this is something that you need to explain to them, and maybe you can give a brief summary and a brief analysis for samples, and then help the students focus on why decisions are made. Are they trying to control something? Are they trying to push a narrative? Why are decisions made? We move to the major themes in this book. The first theme is love versus duty. How does this come about? Antony has to choose between love, which is Cleopatra, and duty, which is Rome. So Antony repeatedly chooses love, and this is his tragic flaw. And you need to ask your students at this point in time, is following your heart always noble? And encourage a debate at this point. So maybe you can write on your board, is following your heart always noble? That question. And then get different insights from the students. And remember, when they are giving answers, they need to make reference to the text. So our theme 2 is power and politics. So Octavius represents cold ambition. He's very strategic, patient, and disciplined. But Antony represents emotional leadership. The question you need to ask students here is, which type of leader survives longer in modern politics? And I'm sure this is applicable even to our countries. The emotional leader does not survive at whatever level, because they will start throwing tantrums, they'll start being very emotional. And when you're doing that, you lose focus. But this, the one who is strategic, the one who pushes his ambition for leadership and his country, will survive much longer. But now, this is not your question to answer as a teacher. Just ask your students and then let them connect to modern leadership styles, basing on different countries, maybe from first their country, then Africa at large, different continents, and the whole world. Then our theme 3 is identity and performance. So this part focuses much on Cleopatra as a character, because she performs different identities, one of them being the seductress. If you've watched this movie, Anthony and Cleopatra, which is on Netflix, you'll realize that at different points, Cleopatra is the one who initiates, she seduces these leaders. And then in the middle of that, when they fall for her, she presents her thoughts, she presents her leadership ideas, she wants a collaboration, she wants to know, what is it that I'm going to gain out of this? And that is why when one leader dies, she quickly moves to another, you know? And because she's beautiful, she's powerful, she has the brains. By the way, Cleopatra was well read. She was speaking different languages, and there are men who are attracted to women who are this brainy. So Cleopatra was very brainy. She was a seductress. She could move like the queen that she was. So she has different identities in this play. She's a seductress. She's the queen. At one point, she's a victim, and then she's a goddess. So this is all about theatrics, just so that she fits all these identities that she has. So you will need to ask your students, do we also perform identities today? Where particularly on social media, which is a big deal at this point in time, at school, or even in professional spaces, do we also perform identities? Some of these questions that I included here, they encourage some of these 21st century skills like communication, like collaboration, like critical thinking. How do these questions bring about these skills? Theme 4, gender and power. So here, if you look at Cleopatra, she's constantly criticized, especially in Rome, because she's powerful and female. I wonder if it would have been different if Cleopatra was a man, because at one point there was someone who openly said that we are not led by women. And Cleopatra took no offense. She responded. So the question you're presenting here is, if Cleopatra were male, will she be judged differently? Would her ideas be welcomed? Would her leadership styles be acceptable? So this should lead students to generate thoughtful dialogue. All right, so we have looked at 4 themes, one being love versus duty, the other one power and politics, the other one identity and performance, and then gender and power. So this is where we bring in the debate part of it. If you are teaching your students, you can have a debate for an activity. How do we go about it? Have on one side of the class, side A, where Anthony is a tragic hero, and then side B, where Anthony is simply irresponsible. So each side should prepare 3 arguments. Side A, Anthony is a tragic hero, and side B, Anthony is simply irresponsible. 3 arguments, and then give them 3 minutes to prepare, and then 5 minutes to debate. Watch your student debate about it, listen to their arguments. Then at the end of it, you can ask them to write an argumentative essay based on the discussion or the debate they've had. We look at the literary devices. This point needs to be explained clearly and practically. Remember, when the students will be answering questions, probably from an assessment, they need to, first of all, state the point, then bring the evidence from the text. So we have different literary devices in Anthony and Cleopatra, one being imagery. For example, Rome stands for discipline, war, and structure, which is evident. And Egypt stands for pleasure, beauty, and fluidity. So ask the students to identify examples from the text. Then we have symbolism. We have what Cleopatra did. First, we have Anthony taking his life. Do we find freedom through death? Does it mean that our problems end when we die? And then this is for Anthony. And then for Cleopatra, reclaiming power, because for her, she chose to die by herself as the queen that she was instead of being killed. Then that is symbolism. So we are looking at death at this point. Is it freeing? Does it give you freedom? Is it an escape? Does it give you power? What does death do? Remember, they need to bring evidence from the text. Then we have dramatic irony. People see Anthony's political misjudgments before he does. Like, Anthony has decided to have a relationship with Cleopatra, then this is doom in waiting. So why does Shakespeare allow us to see Anthony's weakness? When you're guiding your students, 2 points here, the tragic inevitability, and then the emotional tension that it creates in this book. Again, evidence from the text. So we cannot end this this text without giving the modern connections. This text was written over 400 years ago, but then it feels modern. Let's see how it connects to today. First, there are often political scandals affecting leadership. Political scandals. It could be affairs. It could be corruption. It could be hideous intention. It could be people pushing their agendas. Political scandals affect leadership all over the world. Then we have the media that shapes public image. So again, politicians can use the media to push a given narrative. For example, in a case where there's corruption, and then there's power play, there's someone trying to hide it, the media can choose to be truthful given what they know, or they can choose to lie to the public given what they have been told. Sometimes whatever it is they say is not the truth. It's not the truth. But now that the media has said, it's on TV, it's on social media, it's on radio, people start to believe it, because the more it is said, the more a lie is said, it begins to sound like the truth. Then we have cultural clashes, just like there was in Rome and Egypt. And also there's gender bias in leadership. This one is very open. There are so many male leaders compared to female. That's because they think female leaders can be emotional. They don't know how to make decisions, which is actually prejudicing, you know. So some of these leaders have their personal life affect the public figure that they are. So you find someone is having an affair. This affair comes to the public through the media, and then people start judging this politician basing on whatever it is that is being said. So when you're teaching this part where we are making connections from the past to modern times, you need to be careful. You need to keep your ideas general to avoid controversies, because some things, some ideas, some thoughts can be controversial, and we don't want our students getting into that, or you as the teacher getting into that. So ask the students, if Anthony lived in 2026, how would social media change his story? Remember, this is a creative, critical thinking task. It should be aligned with higher order thinking. Let the students explore, because at this given point in time, most of these students are aware of all the social media platforms that are there. They read some of these things that are being said on social media, and they follow these scandals or whatever it is that is happening in the world. So let them, in their connection to the text, in their connection, let them answer this question: how social media would change this story, Anthony's story. Do you think he would leave? Do you think he would run to social media to scout for support? Would he maybe start a hashtag to save himself? What would have happened? So you have to give them the liberty to answer this question as creatively and critically as they can. Now, remember, most of the texts that we give in class or we read in class, most of these texts that we bring into class, we ask them to read. What are they doing it for? So many things. First of all, they read for fun. Then they read to understand what is happening, what was happening, then connect it to what is happening, and then it will help them to think critically. So at the end of it all, they will be answering questions, maybe an exam, an assessment, be it formative, be it summative. They will be answering questions. Now, the challenge that students have when it comes to answering questions from a text is that they summarize instead of analyzing. And that is why when I started, I said, teach the students how to summarize and at the same time how to analyze, and let them know the difference between these two. At what point are they supposed to summarize, and at what point are they supposed to analyze? Give them this formula. First of all, let them point it out. Second, let them give the evidence. After the evidence, let them explain. And finally, give the effect. All right. So this is the formula. Again, I repeat. They state the point, give evidence from the text, give an explanation of that evidence, and then what effect does it have? Okay. So let's say the question is that you discuss the theme of loyalty in Anthony and Cleopatra. So the student is supposed to say, Shakespeare presents loyalty as unstable and politically motivated. Enobarbus, though initially loyal to Antony, eventually deserts him when he recognizes Antony's poor leadership decisions. This shift highlights how political survival often overrides emotional allegiance, reinforcing the instability of power structures in the play. Now, the question is, discuss the theme of loyalty. Point: Shakespeare presents loyalty as unstable and politically motivated. Evidence: Enobarbus, though initially loyal to Antony, eventually deserts him when he recognizes Antony's poor leadership decisions. Explanation and effect. This shift highlights how political survival often overrides emotional allegiance, reinforcing the instability of power structures in the play. What do we have in this response? First of all, clear argument. Second, textual reference. Third, analysis. And finally, the interpretation. So this is how the students are supposed to answer their questions. Remember to give them this formula: point, then evidence, then explanation, and finally effect. There can be another assessment. So let's say you're teaching your lesson. One good thing about English is that when you're teaching these lessons, you can have all the skills included in one lesson. For example, here we are talking about reading and writing. There were multiple choice or short answer questions or long answer questions. We can take it now to writing an essay. We can take it to writing as a skill, and in this case, they are writing an essay. For example, discuss Cleopatra as a powerful female character. And since this is an essay, it should have introduction statement, three body paragraph points, one strong concluding idea. So how many paragraphs do we have here? One for introduction, three for body points, and one for the concluding idea. So we have 5. So how you need to show your students how to scaffold essays. For example, thesis creation, topic sentence, and then how to use analytical verbs. Remember, you're discussing a character. So how do you merge everything that has been said into this? You need to show your students how to do this. Okay, so analytical verbs include words like illustrates, reinforces.
Miss Jacquelyne, we can't hear you.
After they've read the book, who do they think truly wins at the end of this play? Is it Anthony? Is it Cleopatra? Who truly wins? So is this a tragedy of love or a tragedy of politics? And what is the connection in death? Does Anthony fall because of Cleopatra or because of himself? And when Anthony falls, does it have an impact on Cleopatra? How so? So these are questions that help students to think, and then it will move them to, these questions will move them to understand the text better. So Anthony and Cleopatra reminds us that leadership without emotional discipline is dangerous, but power without humanity is equally destructive. Why do we say this? Why is this play important to these students at this point in time? This is your cue as a teacher to bring in something to do with social emotional intelligence, how to handle conflict, how to handle a crisis, how to solve problems, and how not to resort to death as an escape route. So here, it's your cue as a teacher to come in as a counselor, not just as a teacher of English, not just teaching literature. So when you're looking at Shakespeare plays, not just Antony and Cleopatra, even Romeo and Juliet, even Macbeth. Shakespeare does not give us heroes or villains. We cannot say at the end of the day that Octavia is the hero in Anthony and Cleopatra, or in Romeo and Juliet, that Romeo or Juliet is the hero or is the villain. No, Shakespeare does not give us heroes or villains. He gives us complex human beings. He puts us in a state where we are supposed to think. We are supposed to grow social emotional intelligence. We are supposed to grow our critical thinking skills. We are supposed to look at the challenges that we have and see how to get out of it. It shows, Shakespeare shows us that human beings are complex, and it takes one minute, one challenge, one idea to make the whole thing turn from good into a tragedy. And that is why these plays remain relevant today. And maybe they were not even as relevant as they are now before. Those plays now make sense more at this point in time than they used to when they were written. This is an extension for teachers. When you're doing, when you're reading, when you're studying Anthony and Cleopatra, have a comparative study with Julius Caesar. Remember, Julius Caesar was also a leader in Rome. Then have a character hot sitting activity. Now this one, we are getting into the classroom. We are done with reading. We now want to start understanding the text. These are some of the activities that can help the students understand this text clearly. A character hot sitting activity, you can have a Cleopatra, you can have Anthony, you can have Julius Caesar, you can have Octavia, you can have those ladies that were with the maids that were with Cleopatra, her kids, and then a hot seat, put them on the hot seat. Let the other students ask them questions, and let them, as the characters on the hot seat, respond to those questions. You'll be able to see or understand how the students have taken the text, have taken in the text. You can have them role play different scenes. You can have them write analytical paragraph about a given character or a given scene or a given literary device. For example, you can ask about symbolism. What are some of the symbols that have been used in the text? How do they relate from the past to the present? You can also have a feminist critical lens discussion where you bring in Cleopatra as the female character, ask them what they think about her in this play. And that marks the end of my presentation. I would welcome questions. In case you didn't understand a given part, let me know so that I can clarify. And then, yeah.
Thank you, Teacher Jacquelyne. I think there was a point where I think your screen froze and we couldn't hear. So I think it's Miss Margot's, Teacher Margot, we lost you. Perhaps repeat from the analytic verbs, please. And then before that, I think your second question, you asked about if you asked a question, would it be a tragedy? I forgot the first part, but you have got some answers from the teachers, Teacher Leila and Teacher Huda, and I think someone else. Yeah. So do you want me to read them for you or you? Okay.
Please read them, please.
Yes. So talk about yes, Miss Leila, teacher Leila from Algeria. She said, "No, I believe he would have faced a better death as a hero, fighting rather than leaving behind his men. They were betrayed by his decision." Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think yes. We have this, and there is someone else I saw who wrote something. Okay, just give me 1 second. Oh, I don't know. New messages. No, I don't. Yeah. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. So my question was, if Anthony had stayed and fought at Actium, would the play still be a tragedy? So the good thing about literature is that we don't have wrong answers, we don't have right answers. It depends with how you argue your point. So when you are checking the students' work, let's say you've given out this question, look at how the student has presented their response. Because you see, a question like this would be, a student will say no, and another one will say yes. But how do they defend their no or their yes? Same to what Miss Leila has said. It would have been better if Anthony fought instead of choosing to die. Then he would have been a hero. But for me, I think I would say I would rather he died, because you see, it gets to a point where you weigh the situation. You look at things vis-a-vis the outcome. I have this situation and the outcome is this, and this is not a good outcome. So what do? I come up with a better one, which is like, let me let it go. It's peaceful like that. So it depends. It depends with how a student has presented their argument on a given question. Yeah. What else did I miss?
Yes, there is someone, there is a, I think a teacher, Iman, or Iman, I don't know how to pronounce, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it well. Her comment is, if Antonio stayed and fought, he would have become a symbol of liberation from the shackles of love. His story would have transformed from tragedy, to liberation and a return to the top. That one. And then you have got a question from teacher Leila. Do you think that Shakespeare portrayed Cleopatra objectively? Isn't she judged more harshly?
I think I agree that Cleopatra was judged harshly, especially that point when she was with Antony and no, she was with Julius Caesar, and they were discussing about a possible union between Egypt and Rome. And one of the soldiers openly dismissed her. Were it not for the fact that Cleopatra was a strong character, someone else would have just given up. So for me, I think in this play, Cleopatra had so much to carry as a female character. She had so much to carry. And that is why I would have loved to know from the students if they feel Cleopatra would have been male. Would things have been different? Wouldn't it be a tragedy? Or would the outcome have favored a different gender? So to me, Shakespeare made Cleopatra carry a lot of burden in this play. And I think if it would have been man to man, or the competition is between a man to another man, a king to another king, things would have been different. The suicide part will be off because they would have chosen to fight man to man. Remember, at this point in time, the element of love is out because no one is loving the other. So Anthony decided to die because he believed that Cleopatra, the love of his life, had died. You see, so that part wouldn't have been there. And then the outcome would have been different. Maybe they would have fought so hard, and whoever wins, wins. Whoever loses, loses. And then the story continues. But then it would have an entirely different meaning.
Okay, thank you very much, teacher Jacquelyne. Participants, students and teachers, you will find that we have shared in the chat box the link to the Google form. So this is, the link to your e-certificate. Please, it's important that you fill it out for you to get your e-certificate. Don't forget to write your name correctly, so that because you will get the certificate, it will be automatic. So if there is a mistake, it will be difficult for you to correct. So thank you, and thank you, teacher Jacquelyne. So Dr. Neil, will you be able? Dr. Neil is our president of IELTA. So
Hello, Brenda.
yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Neil. So would you be able, that will be such a great honor if you could present the certificate to Dr. Neil. Sorry, to teacher Jacquelyne, our speaker. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brenda, for the opportunity to deliver this certificate to Mrs. Jacquelyne Anyango in recognition of his active participation and contribution as a speaker during the sharing session on Shakespeare's Understanding the Tragedy in the play Anthony and Cleopatra, organized by IELTA Mauritius, held on 24th April 2026 from 9 a.m. New York time. Awarded this 24th April 2026 via Zoom. This is signed by Dr. Glenn Cortesano from Philippines, my person, Neil Arevalo, and Brenda, IELTA Mauritius ambassadors. Congratulations to Jacquelyne. Thank you so much, Jacquelyne, for all your knowledge about this Shakespeare's book. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Neil. Now we are going to present the certificate also to our moderator and the ambassador from Kenya's ambassador. So Miss Nyamala, are you here? Will you be, I don't know if you're teaching, or will you be able to present the certificate to the moderator?
Sure, Miss Brenda.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Dr. Neil, Miss Yolana, Miss Brenda. Thank you so much for having me also here. Truly appreciate the speaker. Thank you so much for the inspirational talk about today's session. Truly appreciate Miss Jacquelyne. And also thank you to IELTA Kenya Ambassador, Miss Irene Musau, for her active participation as the moderator and also an incredible ambassador who always organized impressive sessions. And today, I'm sure she has recommended a very good speaker for understanding the tragedy in the play Anthony and Cleopatra, which is organized by IELTA Mauritius on this date today, 24th April 2026, via Zoom. Thank you so much, Ms. Irene, for being such a wonderful ambassador, for always cooperating and collaborating with IELTA branches. Thank you so much, Ms. Irene. Thank you, Ms.
Wow,
Brenda.
thank you so much. I'm really delighted for this certificate. I'm humbled. Thank you.
Welcome.
So we just want to say thank you to Miss Teacher Nyamala. And what I just want to also say, it's not only IELTA Mauritius, it's we have the support of the collaboration of the Learners Department in IELTA. So for us to be able to organize things, so it's thanks to the support of all the board, of our president, of our academic director, and everyone, secretary, and everyone, and also that we have been able to do that. And so thank you also for the collaboration of IELTA Kenya, because with that collaboration, we were able to know something more that's added to our knowledge of Shakespeare. And I'm sure for the teachers, this is something incredible, something great that they can really share. They can help their students, even the students who are here. This will help them a lot. And also there is the recording. So thank you very much. Now, students and teachers, please don't forget, please fill in the form for you to get your certificate. And I just want to say thank you to Teacher Nyamala for always being there to do the e-certificate for us. Thank you very much every month. So you see, it's a teamwork. It's not only one. So in IELTA, this is how we work. And thank you. Thank you for your attention. So we'll wait until all of you, please, you need to tell us, to let us know if you have received your certificate. Then we can end the session. If not, we are not sure if you got it. You have to let us know. Thank you very much. So any comments, please? Anything you want to say? Please, you're welcome. Oh, just before that, I just would like you to know that in May, on the 31st of May, we are not going to do our monthly Shakespeare session on a Saturday for May. We are going to do it on a Sunday because our speaker won't be free on a Saturday. But on a Sunday, she will be free. So on the 31st, so please book this date. On the 31st of May, we'll have our Miss Juliana Vasquez, and who is also a member of the board, IELTA board, and she's also head of research. So please, she will be talking about a topic on the Romeo and Juliet. So book that date, 31st, and the time it will be the same, 9 a.m. New York. So thank you very much. As I said, we'll wait for you, please. You have to confirm that you have received your certificates before we close.